Hello, empathic entrepreneurs. This is Kavita with Aligned and Soulful Success. And this week, I am coming to you to discuss a topic that I've been hearing a lot about, and that is burnout. So, before we get started, in this podcast, we talk about topics that impact empaths and empaths who are entrepreneurs. And so, my goal with this podcast is that you are able to have a purposeful and profitable business aligned with your soul. And so, burnout is something that I am seeing and hearing about more and more. And so, as an empath, this can feel very familiar, and maybe experienced it multiple times in your life, or maybe just happens to you on a regular basis. So, the type of burnout that I'm talking about is the type that kind of makes you feel like you want to quit your business, that you maybe are not designed to be in business, and it can stop you from doing your work in the world. So, how do you know if it's that type of burnout? Well, if you're starting to feel tired a lot, if you're lacking motivation to work on your business at all, if you are feeling like, what's the point in the business, right? If even working with clients can feel draining, which is why you maybe started your business in the first place. And then the other thing is that if you're procrastinating all the time, it's important to look at the cause of that. With procrastination, you can have strategies to get things done because, sometimes we do avoid tasks that are not our favorite. But talking about the type of procrastination that happens chronically, that you really don't feel like doing much of the things and you just keep delaying them or doing anything else to avoid it. Okay. So if you're experiencing some of these things, then keep listening. And I'm going to start today continue with a story. Okay. So this is a client that I worked with before, and she was feeling kind of tired, but really not that tired. So nothing that was standing out, for instance. But we would come up with strategies for steps that she would take, and she would come to the session and say that I couldn't do this. And she'd list a lot of things that would happen. So some things, she had kids, so some things would happen with the kids, or, something came up at home. And so there would be like all these reasons that would really be excuses to why she did not complete what we talked about doing in our sessions. So when this happens, it's an opportunity to look deeper. So we started to look deeper at what was underneath that, right? Once we had already come up with the external strategies, right? So the first go-to is usually with people that the willingness is to do something different externally. So, depending where a client's at, I'd like to start with the internal work, but sometimes they're not ready. And so they need to do the external steps. So in this case, she was not ready yet. So we came up with some strategies like um, maybe setting aside a time of day that her kids were not at home, and then talking to her partner to allow the space to be able to work on the tasks and maybe even hold her accountable. And so we put all those things into place, and she still wasn't getting it done. And so as we dove deeper, it was clear that she was procrastinating because she was afraid. And she was afraid that if she did all the things that we talked about and that it didn't work, then she would be a failure. And so it's easier on her to say that she didn't have time to do something than to do all the things and make the full out effort and fail. So her mind was protecting her from the perceived potential failure, but in a way was creating that, because if she doesn't even try, then that is kind of failing, right? You're not going to see a result by not doing anything either, or very little. So we worked through some of those things that she had going on with what it would mean if she tried the things and it didn't work. And things not working doesn't mean you're a failure. It's really about tweaking and assessing and and then really coming up with what will work for you. And that takes some energy and time and the willingness to fail. And we can learn a lot from our failures, but failure to her meant that she was not good enough. And so for her, in some of her growing up as an empath, which can happen very often, the way that she received validation and love from her family was by excelling, by doing well in school, by bringing home good grades. And so by doing that, which is not failing, right? She received validation. And so for her, failing would equate not being validated, not being seen, loved, and heard. And so that is how her brain created that for her. Her mind said to her that failing means you won't get love. Now, logically, she knew that that wasn't true, yet her mind created that. So we worked on that conditioning, and as that worked together, she started to take steps in the direction of her business and to be able to enroll clients. And within a few weeks, she had enrolled her first few clients and was feeling okay with being judged. And it would still come up in some ways. And so we would continue to work on that. And so in her case, the procrastination, right? And then that was preventing her from doing things. And because she wasn't doing those things, we came up with a system. And then with the system, we realized that it wasn't the system that she needed, but she actually needed to see what was at the root cause of her not doing the work. And I give this example as an example of burnout because I see that all the time. There's a procrastination happening and there's some root cause. And then to feel like you're doing something, and this is not conscious, you end up doing a lot of things in your business that you actually don't need to do. And you're just doing, and it kind of fills the time and it feels like you're working all the time. And that contributes to burnout. But you may be procrastinating the things that actually are needed in your business, that will make you visible, that will bring you the revenue and the clients that you desire. But if you're focusing on tasks that are busy work or feel like you're moving forward in your business, then you can burn out by just doing a bunch of things that are really not resulting in much, right? And so if you're feeling like you're working all the time and you're procrastinating, or you don't think you're procrastinating, but you're not getting some things done that you know are vital for your business, ask yourself if you're tired, if you're feeling burnt out, or if you're procrastinating, why are you really procrastinating? What is behind that behavior? A lot of times it is something to do with your conditioning and your mind. And so, though the external strategies are effective and are helpful, most likely they won't work long term. Getting to the root of what is causing the procrastination and then the burnout is vital. So, another reason that you may be burning out in your business is you're doing a lot of things, procrastinating the things that really will move you forward, or there's the people pleasing. So now people pleasing in business can show up in different ways. It might show up in you overdoing it for the clients that you currently have, doing more than you had said that you would do, right? And sometimes clients can push boundaries, and that's okay. It's your job to hold those boundaries and set them in the beginning. And so that's one way people pleasing can show up, by overdoing it with clients, going over session times, How else can it show up? It can show up in um, you allowing some business tasks that maybe are more of a hiding task to take over time that you were planning to connect with people, right? Because as empaths, sometimes we can be tired of being around people, and so we do some things to hide. And so when you hide, people can't find you, right? And so if you're hiding energetically or hiding physically from people, you will not be able to grow your business forward. But the thing is, most of us don't hide by just not doing anything. We hide by doing a lot of things that feel like we're moving our business forward. And the most common thing that I've heard and it done myself is to take a bunch of free classes or low cost classes, hoping that that will move my business forward. Learning is good, but the real progress happens when you implement, when you face the the subconscious blocks, the things that your mind creates, and you feel the emotions behind that and you continue to move forward. That's what will work. But we tend to hide in those kind of tasks that feel like I'm doing something, like, oh, I attended that class. And so you feel like you're doing something in your business, but really be honest with yourself. How much time are you actually spending on meaningful tasks? A long time ago, I had someone, I don't remember who was a coach or training I went to, and they called them income producing tasks. So I don't know if you want to call it that, but just I think it's a good way to frame it so you can think about that. Like income producing, for instance, posting on social media, connecting with others, that could potentially be income producing if you are also inviting, right? Um, a non-income producing task could be just working on organizing things, um, attending a class on how to do a new marketing activity. So that's not an income producing task. It only becomes income producing if you are actually implementing the marketing strategy. Okay. And so you can divide up your days and see how much time you're spending on actual marketing and income producing activities and how much time you're spending on other tasks. And of course there's the other bucket of client work, right? And so that's always a priority. And if most likely if you're an empathic entrepreneur, that's always a priority and you get that done. Okay, so I'm not even bringing that up, or just bringing up briefly because I know that you are finishing that. So going back to this idea of burnout. So if you're not really procrastinating, if you're not spending a lot of time on tasks that really are not necessary or income producing in your business, and you're still feeling exhausted and not really wanting to do your business, then there may be more going on, right? So I would look further into your life and what's showing up in your life. I would also look at your overall business. If you're still wanting this business, is there some shifts and changes that you need to make in your business? Also looking at, further of taking care of yourself. There may be not eating, you may not be eating well, if you're not sleeping well. Those things also impact your energy and sometimes can go on the wayside when you're building a business and actually shouldn't. So that might require a little bit more work with a coach that can help you uncover what's going on. I'm going to encourage you not to ignore feeling burnt out because it's a signal that you need to pay attention to and look further into. Sometimes that can turn into chronic health conditions and problems, and I don't want that to happen to you. So, feeling the burnout, looking at the aspects that I discussed today, and then if none of those resonate and you cannot see what's causing it, then hiring someone to help you with that, Or even if you identify procrastination, or you identify doing so many things in your business and you're not sure what to focus on, or you're not, not focusing on income producing activities, you don't even know what those are, then it's time to hire some support. And this, for the summer, I am providing that 90-minute one-on-one session, which is something, like I shared, that I don't usually do. I usually work with people more long term, but I want to help more people. And so if that's something you're interested in, then that link will be available in the show notes. If you want to just speak and have a consultation and just talk about what's happening, talk about if you're feeling burnt out, I'd love to connect with you too and see if working together is a good fit. We will go through and through your business a little bit to see in that session, but I mean, it's usually about 20 to 30 minutes. So there's not as much as we can go in. We can go in enough into what's going on to see if there are possibilities. Working together is a good fit, if I can help support you, and I will be honest with you. So if that's something that you would like to do as well, that'll be available. So I'm offering the 90-minute session, which is a deep dive into your business to help you solve a problem. Or if you are considering working longer term, or you're not sure which one to do, then you book the consultation call. And I have both of those links in the show notes. I'll have them labeled. So this is Kavita with Aligned and Soulful Success. If you haven't subscribed or followed this podcast, please do so and share it with others who you think would benefit from it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then please go ahead and subscribe there so that you can get notifications when these go live. So I look forward to connecting with you next week. This is Kavita, again, with Aligned and Soulful Success. Take good care. Bye.